Hello, Squirrel Tribe. Listen, I want to read you something that pretty much sums up where it feels like we are as a country right now, thanks to the extreme push from the left, the liberal side, the Democrats, whatever you want to call them, for this woke mind agenda, this trans push, everything else. I want to read this to you and tell me whether you are right, you're left, you're right down the middle and independent, if this does not sound exactly like how this would play out if this were to occur. Just listen to this. It says it snowed last night. So at 8 a.m., I made a snowman. 8:10, a feminist passed by and asked me why I didn't make a snow woman. At 8:15, I made a snow woman. 8:17, my feminist neighbor complained about the snow woman's voluptuous chest, saying it objectified snow women everywhere. So at 8:20, the gay couple living nearby threw a hissy fit and moaned it could have been 2 snow men instead. 8:22, the transgender man, woman, person asked why I didn't just make one snow person with detachable parts. 8:25, the vegans at the end of the lane complained about the carrot nose as veggies are food and not to decorate snow figures with. 8:28, I was being called a racist because the snow couple is white. 8:31, the Middle Eastern gent across the road demanded the snow woman be covered up. 8:40, the police arrived saying someone had been offended. 8:42, the feminist neighbor complained again that the broomstick of the snow woman needed to be removed because it depicted women in a domestic role. 8:43, the council equality officer arrived and threatened me with eviction. 8:45, TV news crews from BBC showed up. I was asked if I know the difference between snowmen and snow women. I replied, snowballs, and now I'm being called a sexist. 9 o'clock. I was on the news as a suspected terrorist, racist, homophobe sensibility offender, bent on stirring up trouble during difficult weather. 9:10, I was asked if I have any accomplices. My children were taken by social services. 9:29, far left protesters offended by everything marched down the street demanding for me to be arrested. By noon, it all melted. Here's the moral. There is no moral to this story. It is what we have become, all because of snowflakes. And that is so incredibly true. Everybody has a problem with everything. Shit, I have problems with stuff and I'm very vocal about it. But there seems to be no winning at all and only losing, no matter how you want to live your life, right? I personally do not agree with men in women's spaces. Well, let me be real specific. Men dressed as women in women's spaces. I will always have an issue with that. I will always be vocal about that. And I will get labeled a transphobe. I'll get labeled as a misogynist. I'll get labeled as a far right, batshit crazy, conservative, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, it's just labels. It's just labels. Who gives a shit what people think about us, right? You're going to have your feelings on the things you're going to have your feelings about. If you're indifferent, you're indifferent. We do, as a society, need to stop being triggered, since that's the word that the left understands, by every little thing. This whole entire situation of building a snowman, it seems laughable, but it's so incredibly relatable because we all know that something like that would happen in your neighborhood, wherever you live, maybe where you work, just in general in your city. You have seen people who would have an issue with the snow person, because now it can't be a snowman or snow woman, it's got to be a snow person, and it can't be, gay or straight or trans, it's got to be non-binary and all these other labels that we're wanting to slap on everything. It's getting out of hand. Personally, I am hoping that the next 4 years will rid us of snowflakes, will rid us of people who are so hell-bent on being miserable that they want to make everybody else miserable along with them. There's no other reason I think that there's such a big push for the trans agenda unless it's designed to destroy the fabric of our society when it comes to men and women. They're trying to make it so that women are no longer a thing, that it's either men or trans women, or I don't even know how to phrase this, that men who think they are women are equal to women who are actually women, because there's only one type of woman, right? There's a lot going on right now in Capitol Hill with this, and it's a huge deal. But the whole story of the snowman, if I had read that story 8 years ago, I would have laughed and been like, that sounds so stupid. Nobody would be all up in arms over something like that. Why would a lesbian care if you built a snowman? It's not like you put a ding dong on the snowman. It's just 3 round, pieces of body with coal eyes and a what is it? A carrot nose and like a pipe, a cotton, what did they call it? A corn cob pipe, and then a hat and a scarf. Like, you labeled it as a man, right? Isn't that the whole point here? Which is very ironic, is that somebody would get mad at a snow person and label it as a man. There's no genitalia. It's not a man or a woman. A man and a woman can both smoke a pipe. A man and a woman can both wear a top hat and a scarf. So to label it as a snowman, right? That seems sexist. Isn't that how it all goes? Either way, 8 years ago, 12 years ago even, I would not have thought that a story like this, a little timeline breakdown like this, would be something that my mind could see happening. And yet here we are. I read this thing and I could picture the exact type of person that was going to make each individual statement. And it is crazy to me that we are living in a time, we're in 2024, we are on the verge of 2025, and it is so easy to put people in categories and boxes because the left has worked so hard to categorize and corral people into boxes over the last few years, especially during the election time. You had, straight men for Harris. You had gay men for Harris. You had blacks for Harris, trans for Harris, Latinos for Harris, blah, 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 blah. Why? Why wasn't it just people for Harris? Donald Trump, I didn't see all that going around. It was just, the people who were invested and hopeful for our future and were confident in what Donald Trump could bring to this country versus what a Kamala Harris, Tim Walz duo would bring to this country. We did not label everybody and section them out and put them into boxes and make them have their own little, categories. It's not how things should be. It is what it is. We're all people, right? But at the end of the day, this snowman story, snow woman, snow person, snow whatever, was so incredibly believable, relatable, understandable, because we've all lived through idiots like that who would have a problem with no matter what you do. There's no moral to this. I just wanted to share it with you because it's disturbing that this is where we are. And my hope is that in the next couple of years, we move away from this kind of stuff, that you can build a snow whatever and nobody will say a word because it's your snow person and who gives 2 shits what it is, right? Anyway, that's it. Squirrel Tribe. Short and sweet here. Love y'all. See you later. Bye.